There she was, right there in front of me, standing in the exact spot where we had said goodbye 20 years ago. Same cafe. Same rusted green awning. Same weak coffee that never quite woke you up. I wasn't supposed to be here, and she wasn't supposed to remember, but she did. And I could see it in her eyes, the way they hesitated just long enough to betray her heart. Always thought second chances were for movies, for people who didn't mess up the first time. I was wrong. This is the story of how I fell in love with the same woman twice, and how the second time I didn't let her walk away. I never thought I'd fall in love again. Not after 40. Not after the silence of 10 years, 2 heartbreaks, and a marriage that died long before the divorce papers were signed. But New York has a strange way of reminding you that life isn't over just because you stopped believing in magic. It was early March, the kind of day where winter and spring play tug-of-war in Central Park. I was walking to my favorite bench near Bethesda Fountain, a place I visited often not for the view, but for the quiet. That's when I saw her. She was sitting alone, reading something on her phone, her brow furrowed, like she was both annoyed and intrigued. Shoulder-length hair, black with threads of silver, tucked under a navy blue beret. A dark green coat that somehow looked both elegant and functional. She looked up, caught me staring, and smiled. I smiled back. Something in my chest stirred. Old feelings I thought I'd buried long ago. I don't know why I said anything. I usually just nod and move on. But something about her made me pause. "That bench has the best light in the park," I said. She laughed, and it wasn't a polite laugh. It was genuine. "That's exactly why I sat here," she replied. And just like that, we started talking. Her name was Julia, 42, divorced, no kids. Originally from Boston, living in the Upper West Side for the past 12 years. She was a freelance editor, mostly publishing work. We talked about books, the city, how spring always felt like a promise New York rarely kept. The conversation flowed so easily, I forgot how rare that was. After about an hour, she checked her watch and said, "I'm meeting a friend for a gallery opening in Soho." But this was nice. "It was," I said. "Maybe we could continue it sometime?" She tilted her head slightly, studied me like I was a complicated page she wasn't sure she wanted to edit. "I don't usually do this," she said. "But, okay, give me your number." I gave her my number. She gave me hers. And that was how it began. The first few weeks felt cautious. We met for coffee, then lunch. A museum visit turned into dinner. Neither of us was in a rush. In fact, that's what made it so different. We both carried history. We both had exes, mistakes, wounds. But somehow, with each other, it didn't feel heavy. One night, we ended up walking across the Brooklyn Bridge. It was nearly midnight, and the city looked like it was glowing just for us. "I haven't walked this bridge in 10 years, she said. "I used to come here when I felt lost." "Do you feel lost now?" She looked at me for a long moment. "No, I feel found." We stopped halfway across. I touched her hand. She didn't pull away, and then she kissed me the first time we stepped together. It wasn't impulsive. It was slow, careful, honest. We didn't rush to undress each other like teenagers. Instead, we moved like people who knew time was precious and not to be wasted. There was no awkwardness, no masks, no pretending. Afterward, she curled into me and whispered, "I didn't think I could feel this way again." Neither did I, but love, even second chances at it, doesn't come without fear. She started pulling. Away in mid-May, her texts were shorter. She canceled plans once or twice. I didn't want to seem clingy, so I didn't ask right away. Then, one Friday night, she showed up at my door, drenched from rain, mascara smudged under her eyes. "I'm sorry," she said before I could speak. I've been scared. Of what? Of this, of you. Of being happy again. It feels dangerous. I let her in, made her tea. Sat beside her on the couch. It's okay to be scared, I said. But don't let fear be louder than the truth. And what's the truth? That I'm here. That I want this. That I want you. She stared at me like she was still trying to believe it. I've lost before, she said. So have I. But what if we stopped keeping score and just try? She didn't answer right away. But she stayed the night. And in the morning she made me pancakes. Summer came fast that year. We took day trips to Montauk, ate too much gelato in Little Italy, saw movies in the park. Sometimes we argued over little things like where to eat, or whether art or science mattered more, but it always ended with laughter. We met each other's friends, then each other's families. I watched her nervously stir coffee the first time she met my sister, and I saw her vulnerability. She saw me break down when we visited the apartment I used to share with my ex-wife, and she didn't flinch. We didn't fix each other. We just accepted the cracks and held each other through the echoes. By fall, I knew. We were walking through Central Park again, almost 8 months to the day we first met. The leaves were turning gold and fire red, and the same bench sat empty. She saw it first. Do you believe in signs? She asked. Only when I want to. Well, I think this is one. She sat. I followed. And then she reached into her bag and pulled out a tiny book. What's that? I asked. She opened it. Inside were tiny notes, quotes, bits of paper, movie, tickets, receipts, from our dates, she said. I started collecting them after the second time we met. I didn't know why. I flipped through the pages. Each one felt like a chapter of us. You were writing our story, I said. I was hoping it would be worth remembering. I looked at her, heart thudding. It is, I said. And I want to keep writing it with you. She smiled. And that was the moment I knew. I reached into my coat pocket, pulled out the small velvet box I'd been carrying for 3 weeks. She gasped. Here? Now? Right here, right now. I opened it. Her hand flew to her mouth. Then she laughed. Then she cried. Yes, she whispered. Of course, yes. We didn't rush into a wedding. We weren't kids, but we moved in together. We built something slow and solid and honest, and every year on the day we met, we returned to that bench. Sometimes we talked, sometimes we said nothing, but always we sat beside each other. And that's how I learned the second time around isn't just better, it's real.